Oh, okay.
You didn't know we have a theme song.
What do you mean? Oh, okay.
We have
Well, if you listen to the very first 3 seconds, it sounds like the beginning of Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z.
It kind of does. That's actually accurate. I didn't think about that.
That's why I was confused. That's why I was confused.
Jay-Z, don't take me to court.
I was just about to say he's going to sue you.
He can't take you to court for 3 seconds of an interpolation.
I think Brandon and his fellow Nets fans would love to see Jay-Z in court.
You know what? Funny enough, Brandon would love that.
I'd be on the prosecution.
You would not make a jury for that.
Oh, no.
Damn.
I don't care what it is. I'm kind of guilty.
All right, and with that, welcome to Football After Hours with our new sponsor, Lion Coffee. Oh,
love it.
Would you guys like to read our tag that I'm also going to read in the middle of our show? Because I made a tag. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Whether you're studying football like we are today, looking forward to the NFL draft, or baseball's spectacular opening weekend, you always need a pick-me-up to get you through the day. Our favorite here on Football After Hours is Lion Coffee Company. Get yours at hawaiiancoffeecompany.com.
Nice.
Love it. Love it.
Is that a good tag? Is that a good tag?
That's a great tag. That's a great tag.
So
if quarterbacks could get that tag in March, nobody would ever complain.
Exactly, right?
As I say to catchers at home plate, that's a great tag.
It is a great tag.
Except for Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I got my box from Lion Coffee in the mail
from Patrick,
it said here's a box for Shane from Honolulu, and I was like, what? I didn't order anything. and then I opened it up and I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, because I had been waiting for a parcel from my mother that she kept telling me it should be there, and I was like, it's not. And I was like, okay, how do I explain to my mom that something from New York is taking longer than something from Honolulu?
How do I explain that? Let's see. I gave away my original roast, so I have the Kona coffee 100% right here.
Nice.
I have the toasted coconut, which I'm very excited to try. I have not been able to try these because my parents run my coffee machines. I don't know how to use our coffee machines. They didn't teach me how to use our coffee machine. So
I'll be straight up. My only machine down here is a Keurig, and I have to figure out how to use it with that.
I don't think you can because you need the Keurig pods. I'm very excited. Vanilla macadamia? I'm so excited to try this.
That sounds fire. And speaking of, Mr. Wilty is in the comments and saying aloha and good morning from Hawaii. That goes to show the time difference. Mr. Wilty, good morning, happy Sunday, and thank you again from all of us for our coffee. As I was just saying to the fellas, I have to try it yet because all I have right here with me is a Keurig, but I'm looking forward to trying it at the first possible opportunity.
Patrick, would you like to hear? Let me know in the chat if you'd like to hear our tag. I made a tag just for you. I made a little paragraph for you for this. But yeah, here's the 100% Hawaiian blend. Yeah, go pick these up. These are great. They smell great. I'm really excited to try them. Brandon, your grandparents. So good. Brandon, your grandparents tried it and loved it apparently, which I think is as glowing of a recommendation as we can have here.
Yeah, because I'm not a coffee drinker, but they are, and they didn't know that we were getting a box from Hawaii, and I was like, I knew it was coming, like I didn't forget about it, and then when it came, I was like, okay, it came right before I went to work, like last week, and or last week or the week before, and I brought it upstairs real quick, and I was like, hey, by the way, I got this. This is from the show, pretty much. We got this as technically a sponsor. So I was like, I'm like, hey, it's free coffee. And they're like sign us up because like my grandfather's slogan is, if it's for free, it's for me.
I have a list of quotes that I keep writing from friends and family. I got to write that down. Yeah. Mr. Welty said he could send some pods. Mr. Welty, I really appreciate that.
I was in communication with Patrick during What's the Scoop on Thursday, and he's gonna send me a sign that is going to be right here.
Oh, that's
So that
Nice.
it's right
That's-
behind me on the
That's
studio floor,
crisp.
so that people
That is
can actually
crisp.
see it whenever
That is
they
crisp.
want. Yeah. So Patrick, here's my tag that I made for you. Whether you're studying football like we are today, looking forward to the NFL draft, or baseball spectacular opening weekend, you always need a pick-me-up to get you through the day. Our favorite here at Football After Hours is Lion Coffee Company. Get yours at hawaiicoffeecompany.com. So that's your tag. So I read it twice. I beat the quota, so I'll read it at the end of the show. And so today, here's how today's gonna work. Shane, if you don't mind, I would like to veer from football for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we can get to your
good.
actual whiteboard segment, because I feel like, and I know we'll probably cover this on What's the Scoop as well, but since it happened a couple of days ago, and we have this kind of situations happen in the NFL a lot.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Right. I figured that we should discuss this and how the golf world has reacted
Yeah.
to Tiger Woods' fourth accident. Because honestly, I have been a victim of this when it comes to Tiger. He's been through so much crap, and golf has gave him a ton of excuses, like an absolute ton of excuses. And so have we. I mean, look, he's the most famous golfer in the world, and he's like changed golf forever. He's changed the workouts. He's changed all these different things. But that being said, I mean, look, he's been through so much crap. He needs, I don't know where to go with it. Sounds like a good tag. Thank you so much. Thanks, Patrick. I'm glad you enjoyed that. And by the way, the tag is going to change as we go through the years. Like NFL draft, it's going to be a different tag as we get through different things. So what I guess why I want to discuss this is we see this a lot in the NFL. Guys getting first, second, and third chances for many different things that we don't have to get into specifics necessarily. But think about how golf has reacted to Tiger compared to how the NFL, for example, in the media would react to something like this. And it's very, very different. So I figured we'd discuss those differences since we're a football show. Scoop, do you want to start in terms of what your thought process is on how the media reacts to these situations and how different the golf media has reacted to it?
Well, so I in order to respond to that, to do it the most honestly, I have to look at it from a couple different areas. First and foremost, let's be honest, the NFL, just from a media standpoint, just dominates American sports media so much more than golf does.
Right.
So I think that automatically gets a different element to it. Also, golfers. Yes, I know that there's the PGA and there's LIV and there's this, that, or the other, and there's different brands and whatnot. Golfers are not accountable to a team the way that players are in terms of, let's say, the NFL or even if you want to look at NBA or whatever. But I think we would agree it's most prominent in the NFL, at least on a public scale. So I think some of those elements come into it as well. That being said, like you said, Tiger is, I think we would pretty much ubiquitously agree on a generation level, probably the biggest one of our generation. I mean,
yeah.
People can make arguments for a Phil Mickelson, a Rory McIlroy, and I'm not taking away from none of those guys. But if you're looking at not just a 5 or 10 year period, but a 20-ish year period, like my dad was a big golfer growing up. And I remember being 4, 5, 6 years old and hearing about Tiger Woods, and I'm going to be 26 in a couple months. So it's not like one of these guys like, my guy Ricky Fowler or one of these others who kind of has like a 3 or 4 year like top of the top, and then he's still good, but he's not really hanging around there. Like Tiger kind of changed the way that golf was, not just golf, but the PGA was kind of put out.
How it was viewed publicly. The PGA became
exactly
bigger because
and the product itself, and also again keep in mind that was right alongside with the rise. That was kind of right in line with the rise of things like social media and whatnot. So all these things kind of coalesce at a very close proximity in time. Now, going back to the question in terms of how it's viewed or how it's being reacted to differently. Again, most of what we watch or where we hear golf talked about is secondhand, tertiary sources. It's like your FS1s if you're somebody like me. Other people, it's like an ESPN, one thing or another. It's different than watching I'm guessing that most people who watch this show, and I could be wrong, but I'm guessing that most people who watch the show aren't frequent viewers of a PGA network.
No, I don't think many people who listen to this show are watching Golf Channel on a daily basis.
Right. So my point being that also when the network is, and I'm not saying this disrespectfully, but when the network is secondary or tertiary to a league versus directly tied in with that league or association, my guess is there's at least a little bit of a factor there as well. But again, to go back to the nuts and bolts of it, this guy needs help. He's needed help for a while. We've known this. We've known that this has been an issue in his life going back to the infamous scandal, which I think was in 2007 or 2009 with his now ex-wife, Elin Nordgren. And I apologize if I mispronounced that, but I'm known for mispronouncing names on here, so it's probably not the first time.
I don't think that's I think that's pretty close to the right pronunciation.
Yeah,
you're in a good standing here.
But it's the guy needs help, and I think that two things I'll say. One, I don't think you have to disparage the guy personally and not acknowledge the fact that alcoholism or whatever it is a real psychological issue, but also say that there's an accountability factor there as well. Both things can be true. And at the same time, and also on top of that, we deal with this a lot in areas like music as well, I think, where we talk about, like, let's say somebody like a Chris Brown, for example, just the first name that I thought of, where you can respect the art and criticize the artist. I don't have to suddenly say, oh, disparage what Tiger did. That one was just a mental block. But
no,
what Tiger did for golf, what Tiger did for PGA, all of that, and still say this guy's got serious problems that need to be addressed, and he is the only one who can do the serious work behind it. I think that those are very reasonable things to hold simultaneously. Similarly, I think Chris Brown or many people like him have said or done egregious, evil, sinful acts and said things that can be described the same way, but also think that they are music, their talent, their whatever you want to say resonates with people, whether it's for a lyrical purpose and their ability to write, their ability to perform, their ability to produce, whatever it may be. And I think that those, both in sports and music, I would argue maybe those are the areas where it dominates both most simultaneously, is the opportunity where those things can be held hand in hand. I agree very much with what Mr. Wilsey just said. This kind of situation with Tiger probably happened a lot before social media attention. And that kind of is why I mentioned social media as well. And I was going to jump back to that. So I'm glad he said that better than the segue that I could have used. But it essentially, people are saying, oh, this is so much more prominent now. Oh, this is so much more. I don't think it's so much more prominent now. I think we're so much more aware of it now because there's now cameras everywhere. There's phones everywhere. There's TMZ exists where, somebody, takes a sip of a Mai Tai out in Bora Bora and the world knows about it 3 seconds later. And it's, I mean, I think that exact thing I think happened with Justin Bieber a couple of years ago, but
yes,
but so any of that. And again, that's pretty much all I can say. I'm going to kick it over to any one of y'all who wants to take it from here. But that's pretty much how I would say it is. I think that I do agree that there's sort of it feels a little bit different the way it's portrayed recently in some respects. But I also think you'd have to, and I say this about a lot of things on shows like this, is if you're going to compare two different things, you also got to compare everything behind the scenes about both of those two different things. And I think that's where some of these things need to be juxtaposed as well.
Yeah. And Brandon, before I kick it to you, I think something that I wanted to ask you about, and of course, Scoop alluded to it very well, is that I think the biggest issue with this in terms of just thinking about it and understanding it is the golf media has to pander to Tiger so much and they don't acknowledge his problems. They're just like, Tiger in the modern era of golf in 2026 is a god, essentially, to the golf world. So people who have relationships with Tiger, there's a lot of people in the media who have very good relationships with Tiger, didn't post this at all. Didn't want to. Didn't and that's not journalistic integrity. And that's when we've talked about journalistic integrity a lot on this show and why it's important. But to have that, I mean, that would never happen in the National Football League, regardless of how much we like a certain athlete, a certain coach. That would never happen. A guy like Tom Brady's larger than life, but if something did happen to him like this, it would be everywhere. But with Tiger, we feel like we have to be so hesitant because this is what the golf media has created. He's made him a godlike figure instead of saying, hell, he's a person with real issues.
Yeah. I think about it when you think about someone like, like an individual athlete, when you think about Tiger Woods, who has been literally in the public's eye for the last 30 years. And when he's dominated the sport and been a legend for 30 years, because we're coming up on basically the anniversary of him winning his first Masters and back in 97. I mean, he turned pro in 97, but people knew his name since he was a little kid. They knew he was a golf prodigy. They knew his name since high school. Like, it's I often wonder when people, I think about in the NBA, right? It's almost the same. It's not almost the same. It's very similar to Michael Jordan. And because we knew for so many years that Michael had his gambling issues, that Michael, literally would gamble before games, even against stadium workers. We saw that in the Last Dance documentary. He was literally gambling before games and then going out there and dropping 50 on someone's head. So it was like, that's what Michael did. But it's like, no matter what, even to this day, nobody can tell you anything about Michael Jordan. Like, he is basketball royalty. He's a god. He can't be torn down no matter what. Even with the little controversy thing that he had with his driver's son after the race that they won. That was Daytona, wasn't it?
I think it was Daytona or Talladega. I don't remember. It was one or the other.
Yeah, and he had that little controversy there, and everybody was like trying to figure out what was going on there and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, but still, even now, after about 24 hours of it just having a little bit of a blowback, it blew away. It's almost the same thing with Tiger. It's like Tiger has done this now for almost 20 years, where these issues have been well known, and no matter what, he can't be torn down. And the thing is, it reminds me of that saying, was it like never meet your heroes?
Yes,
because they'll disappoint you.
Yep.
And it's like, these guys are gods, right? But they're gods from afar, and people also have to realize, but people do have to realize that they are people too. That that this image that you see of them on TV it's them doing their job, but it's not everything about who they are. And it's really tough in a situation like this, because separating the art from the artist is for a lot of people is hard at times. And hell, even for some of us, it's hard at times. We have certain players and athletes that we love and things like that. But remember how quickly the former Mets pitcher, remember Matt Harvey, remember how he?
Oh my goodness, what a fall from grace that was.
And that, I think about guys like that who had that little bit of success, but that's just they had so many personal issues that it didn't matter. And it's like, but yet people seem to just. And golf does this too, and the NBA did it with Jordan, and it still happens to a lot of big hell. Even to me, I know people won't like it. I still don't think Ohtani's innocent. But I will say that at the end of the day, it's like when you have figures that are larger than life, that almost transcend their sport, it's hard for people to look at that person in a negative light. But we also have to acknowledge, as people, as human beings, that these guys need help, and it seems like, they're not willing to help themselves. And it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So it's like, you can't drag these guys by the hand. It's I know, Scoop. I know how you feel about Otani.
we can't do an Otani thing, or we're gonna be here for an hour. We need to give Shane space here.
Yeah, I know.
No, trust me. I know. It's just that's my personal belief.
I got you. Keep going.
But like, it's just like it's hard to look at certain celebrities and certain people that way. It's like we know that so much of Hollywood. We know that so much.
Scoop, turn your thing off.
That's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Why is your keyboard so loud? Who has a keyboard that loud? I'm not disparaging you, but when I hear someone like doing that, I'm like, are you writing are you signing a lawyer's document?
Okay.
Like, what is happening? It's not just you. When people do this, it's hilarious.
No, so wait until Brandon's done, and then I'll explain.
No, you're not the only person that does this, but when people do that, I think they're like signing a lawyer document or something. It freaks me out.
No, it's only because for some reason that goes hand in hand with other sound effects on my phone. So if I turn that down, it turns other ones down as well.
That's fascinating. That's weird. What phone do you have? Are you an Apple user?
I haven't been an Apple user since I was 19. I'm a Samsung Galaxy 25.
We have 3 Android users and 1 Apple user in this thing.
Okay. That's gotta be the first time my phone's. It's gotta be the first time I've been in a majority on that one.
Imagine having an Apple phone.
I can't think back that far.
Okay, Brandon, continue. No, Scoop. I mentioned it because it's something that I find so funny because it genuinely feels like someone's signing a document. That's why.
Well, it's also I also type very fast to begin with, so it sounds like everything I'm doing it sounds like everything I'm doing is done with such anger and like intensity, and I'm just like, no, that's just me responding to somebody saying I'll text them back later or whatever.
Yeah, all right, continue, Brandon. I just thought it was funny because you're not the only person that does that. It's so funny to me.
It's like the gist of what I was getting at was it's when you look at the NFL and what we cover, and it's like you see so many guys and we hear about tragic stories all the time, but it's like, at least like there's kind of like things in place, guidelines in place to kind of get these guys the help they need and then the resources and whatnot. And it just feels like, they kind of force the player into it. Like the player has to want to go, but they kind of force the player also into it and be like, hey, no, get this help. Otherwise you will be out of a job.
That happened to Richie Incognito after the bullying scandal. He went to rehab for like a year and a half.
Yeah. And from what I understand, he actually became one of the more well-respected like post-veteran guys.
After that, which was amazing.
It's like that's why it's like, but it's like in golf or like to me, whenever you have a solo sport, so it's like whatever, swimming, golf, whatever it is, it's you're fighting yourself. You're not fighting another team, like you are fighting yourself constantly.
Yeah,
and it's you got to think about they're under a lot of pressure because it's all eyes are on them. Like when you're part of a team, all eyes are on you, but also your team. Like it's everybody.
Well, I think you can also make the case that could also be, you could say that cuts either way as terms of more or less pressure. Because when you're on a team, it's like you're representing not just yourself, you're representing, your teammates as well. And, the brand and the history and all of that. So like, I feel like you could argue it either way.
Well,
can I add this really quick? Yeah. I'm sorry. Can I add this really quick? Do you guys remember when Tiger, before he won his 2019 Masters, how in every major tournament they would show Tiger at like the first 2 days before he would miss the cut, and he'd be like +10, +20, and they still show every.
He was in pain.
You could see it was in pain. You could see it was in pain, but I was like,
I'll never forget where I was when he had that comeback. I'll never forget where I was and what I was doing.
No, but the same here. But also, I was like, dude, this guy's not even gonna make the cut. Why are we showing him? It's because he was a god, and I was like,
yeah, it's because it was Tiger. I mean, if what's his name? If Joe
Schmo hit +20, nobody would care, but it's Tiger.
Well, what I was going to say is if Clayton Kershaw stuck around until he was old enough to be, beat Jamie Moyer's record, even if he was throwing up ERAs of 5, we would still talk about him.
Well, look at the end of Venus and Serena's careers. Like,
Yes.
or the late stage of their career.
They're literally gods. Like, I still would watch them because
But then you had Serena's injuries that piled up and her flipping out on the court. At the
pregnancy. So she was gone for a year.
But and then the thing is, like, everything kind of snowballed. She felt pressure. She had to step away from the game for a little bit.
Right, because after the pregnancy, she felt like I really actually need to step away, and so she took a little bit more time.
It's just weird. Like with Tiger, it's a weird situation because it's like it feels like every time he steps away and then he comes back, it's like he comes back. He seems like he's on the straight and narrow for a good little bit, and then he just relapses again into old Tiger. And it's like what is it going to take for someone like that to get the help they need? Like I think about, and the last guy I'll bring up because it's the professional wrestling world, is Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy for years struggled with drugs. They even in some instances, and they still do, and not as much they did back then, but bring up his drugs and alcohol addiction in storylines, like in wrestling feuds. And he even said that it was like it took a lot of people beating it into his head for him to actually go and get help and figure it out.
Right.
And it was like it's like with Tiger, I'm sure he's got people telling him this, like, but it's like
his girlfriend apparently is telling him, like, dude, go get help. Like, we can't.
He has to want it, but he has to want it, and I don't think.
That's the thing is, like, there are some people, and they can be in public, they could be, the guy next door, they could be in your family, they could be strangers, whoever. There are some people where it will not sink into them until they've absolutely hit just complete ass rock bottom. And
4 times is not rock bottom. It's the rock itself.
Look at all the stuff. Look at all the stuff with Tiger between all the DUIs, all the.
Well, that's the thing is, like, you would have thought that losing your marriage, or I think they were married at the time. I think they were at least engaged. You would have thought that losing your marriage and completely just losing at least a chunk of your reputation back in the late 2000s. You would have thought that would have been maybe it was, and then maybe he relapsed. I don't know.
But then what's weird is like golf has blown past that, and then of course we all celebrated Tiger when he won in 2019, and it was like, are we just gonna forget like the last 10 years before that didn't really happen with all the issues? That's
what I'm saying, because even with this situation, so much of the golf world just didn't care, and I was like, guys, this is a serious issue. Shane, what are your thoughts on it and how it pertains to how we look at all these type of situations in the sports world? Because we do see it happen in the NFL quite a bit as well.
Yeah, when for Tiger in particular, there's several athletes and sports figures where when you look at them, it's like they're not just somebody part of the sport, but they are like a transcendent legend who
they are the sport. Tiger the last 20 years was the sport.
Yeah, he's basically like
the
Jordan or LeBron of the PGA.
Yeah. I mean, you think of Tiger, Michael Jordan, Phelps, Williams, sisters.
Messi, Ronaldo.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, and that's so with that, he's going to get a little more grace. It's the media will frame it like, oh, we're concerned for his health and hope he gets help. And, whereas like if some random NFL player, like
a third stringer on the Vikings or something.
Yeah, it'd just be like, oh, this is a pattern of behavior, and he's a bum, and just he doesn't care, and
like what's his name? Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon.
Yeah, that's a great. But yeah, I mean, just like golf culture in general is just a lot different. Like, because it's an individual sport and it's much more buttoned up, very polished, if you will. Whereas NFL is like it's tough, it's hypercritical. It's
not about the finesse and the appearance of it.
No, and you're representing a team, so it's like, oh, he let his whole team down and this that and
right.
So plus it's just NFL media just dominates golf a lot more.
Right.
So it's if it was like an NFL player getting in repeated rollover crashes because of their addictions, there'd probably be like league investigation, nonstop ESPN
Scrutiny
debates.
Yeah.
I think I think probably the closest thing we've had to something like this would be like a Tyreek Hill.
Isn't it kind of
or like
weird?
Rasheed Rice.
Like
well, I'm just trying to think of somebody who was like actually like top of the tops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like isn't it weird though, where it's like, when I think about this, it's like every time that Tiger gets into one of these incidents, it's almost like not only does it get blown over, but it almost feels like the media kind of goes, oh, that's just Tiger being Tiger. It's like
No, I'm sorry, guys. I am just trying to move Shane to the center of the screen for his thing.
Yeah, I know. It keeps focusing on me. Damn it!
I'm trying to fix it. Yes, yeah.
But just like, and I looked it up because I wanted to figure this out, and I went back, and Tiger's last victory for a major on the PGA Tour, for a victory on the PGA Tour was the Japan Championship in October 2019. And the reason why I looked that up is because I do know when you see these pro athletes, either whether it's retire or like the game kind of retires them, so to speak. They talk about how, they get disoriented. They don't know what to do. They kind of fall back into old bad habits from which the game and the commitment to the sport was sort of deviating them away from, or whatever the case may be. So I do wonder if his sort of either retirement, or if you want to say, the game retiring him, basically, I do wonder if that kind of was a factor in how things, maybe if they had improved over the past decade, maybe you may have seen a resurgence for him.
In some way, yeah. I just don't like it. I just don't like it.
It's not a defense of him. I'm just saying that I wonder if that's part of what happened.
No, and it's not. No, I think you're encapsulating exactly why I wanted to talk about this, Scoop, which is in any other league, particularly the NFL, it doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady, if you're a Mike, whoever. If this happens to an NFL player, they are not in the NFL.
Yeah.
But golf, it's like Tiger is such this god, and we're going to protect him at all costs. It's like, guys, you're actually making him worse by doing this.
You know what's the best depiction I've ever seen of golf, and it's stupid, but it's Happy Gilmore, where it's like,
oh my goodness,
where he's like how many times is he gonna act out during a golf
tournament?
Event?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna kick him off the tour, and eventually he does kind of get kicked off, and it's like, well, wow, they actually handle that better than they do in real life, because they don't kick anybody off.
They don't kick anybody out of the PGA Tour except when they go to live and come back. But no, I think it's a great example, because that's my issue. It's like, guys, in any other sport, Tiger's off the tour, he's off TGL, he's off the board at TGL. Why are we just being so protective?
Well, that's the thing is, like, we also don't have we just don't have a recent precedent for somebody of that level really making those same decisions.
Not in this way. No, absolutely not.
Well, that's my point. Is like that's why like I kind of struggle, and again, maybe I'm being naive here, but I kind of struggle with making the comparison of like, oh, this wouldn't happen if it were this guy. This wouldn't happen. We don't know, because it hasn't happened. It could very well be handled similarly. We don't know, because it has not happened. That's the issue that I'm having there, because it could very well bring down a LeBron. It could very well bring down a Sid the Squid. It could very well down these great players in any of these other leagues or associations. It's very reasonable to assume that it would be handled differently, but do we really know? I struggle to say that we could really just make that declaration.
I feel like it would not be handled that differently because when you look at, I mean, even outside of sports, when you look at these people who accomplish incredible things, like a great example is MLK. Like MLK obviously did an amazing thing, but everybody just kind of ignores the fact that outside of the movement, he wasn't that great of a guy.
Right.
He was,
Oh yeah.
like he cheated on his
I
wife
figured it
dozens of
out.
times.
It wasn't that hard. I'm an idiot. Okay, whatever.
President Kennedy being another one.
And, yeah, Kennedy. I mean, there's Gandhi, same thing.
That was
right?
that was the very next one I was going to say.
There, but we all just kind of forget about that because it's like, well, but they did this thing and that was great. It's like
The greater good thing. It's like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few kind of thing. Where it's
and,
like,
and that yeah, and I mean, we
Spock's
see that
dying words making their way into this show was shocking to me, but all right.
It makes
And we
sense.
see
It's
that-
a good connection.
It is. I was
Carson
just shocked that made its way into this.
and we see that a lot, not only in sports but just in life in general. And I mean, look at like Tom Brady, like when you look at his legacy. I mean, nobody brings up Deflategate, even though it was.
I mean, a lot of people were bringing it up a couple months ago, but it was because it was Belichick, not Brady.
Right. So it's
like who's like when you think about it, right? Like the only solo or like the only solo athlete I can think that's had something similar to what Tiger's going through is Lance Armstrong. I would
Slightly.
think, right?
That's
yeah.
The only one I was thinking of, and it's obviously a much different situation because it was much younger and it was much more severe, obviously, because of the outcome. The closest my brain went was Jose Fernandez.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm thinking like in terms of at least solo, adjacent sports. So like golf it's just you.
Maybe
Psych-
I guess Alex Rodriguez was a team thing, so I guess that wouldn't.
Team
But
thing that wouldn't count. But I see where your head's at. Yeah.
That's how I think the closest one to me I think is still Lance Armstrong because of the
that's
whole,
fair. I admittedly don't follow cycling like that, so that
reminds
but
me.
the thing is, like, even in cycling, they held him accountable. It ruined his career.
No, it did. But by the way, that was my issue with that. And if you watch the 30 for 30, which I think we might do a couple episodes of that 30 for 30 at some point throughout the summer. Lance Armstrong, because he won all those championships, he would, and this is not to excuse what he did at all, but everyone was doping and cycling during that time. Everyone was, and nobody cared, but everyone cared about Lance because he was the one who was actually winning. And it's not to excuse him, but that was part of it too. So yeah. So Scoop, I know we had some breaking NHL news. So can you quickly do that before we?
Yeah. So this came out while we were doing that, and we wanted to hold off out of respect for the topic at hand. There was a recent, and I mean just in the last hour or so, it came out of the NHL. The Vegas Golden Knights making a coaching change. The new head coach going in is former Flyers, Islanders, and Blue Jackets head coach John Tortorella. He is now back as a bench boss in the NHL, taking the spot with the Vegas Golden Knights the rest of the season.
I love John Tortorella because he's so fiery, and him in Vegas.
Yeah.
I love John Tortorella too. I mean, you guys heard me just last night when we almost pissed away that game last night for the Flyers. Yeah, Brandon heard me say, "When are we going to get Coach Tortorella back?" That was one of the worst things that we've done since I started following the team.
Although to be fair, he ruined Vancouver for like 2 years, but it's fine. Aside from that,
I mean, you learn something on every stop, I think, as a coach.
True. All right. Well, Shane, thank you for letting us take 40 minutes to do that because I felt like it was really important to do.
Yeah.
It'll be
That
5
was
minutes.
I can't believe that was 40 minutes. Oh my gosh.
That's fine.
Well, it's fine because you have like an hour and a half or two basically to do your thing. So basically, what we're gonna do for the next 3 weeks.
I won't need that much.
You really won't need that much. I thought you were giving us
Probably
like
not.
a 2-hour seminar for this thing.
We still got the movie, you know.
I know we still have the movie.
I gotta face it.
I'm planning the movie too, but no. Basically, what we decided to do was obviously Shane does his whiteboard segments, and so we wanted him to lead us basically in a class, a football school, for the next I would say 3 weeks, and then we're gonna do some draft stuff, and then we're gonna have Shane finish up after the NFL draft concludes. But yeah, basically we have our notebooks out. I don't have any paper anymore in my house, so I'm going to use my phone.
That's hilarious. And I'm holding a pencil for the first time in like 5 years. Going to take more notes than I ever did in college. Mom, if you're watching this, that was a joke.
But no. So Shane, we're really excited for you to do this. It was funny because I texted you a couple days ago. I was like, "Do you actually have a curriculum ready?" And you're like, "Yeah." And so that was, I don't know anything about what you're going to teach. I don't know your process because you're the teacher, we're the students. This is your show to lead the rest of the way. So please go and lead us however you wish to do so.
Okay.
Coach Shane Hansen is our teacher. Please listen up, class.
So the goal of this is I don't want, I'm not like thinking you all need to be football experts by the end of this, but
we're gonna form our own coaching staff by the end of this.
If I can beat Brandon and Robert at Madden by the end of this, I'll consider it successful.
I'm next up, so I'm a little scared, Scoop, because I'm next up in like 2 weeks.
So,
all right, sorry.
By the end of this, it's basically the goal is to understand football better than, a casual fan. And I don't mean like depth charts but I mean the strategies of the game.
Yeah.
And not because you'll know everything, but because you'll know how to think about it and like what works when and why. Because football is not, it's not just random chaos. It is organized chess with violence. Offense. The biggest, most important thing to remember is that space and leverage equals offense. Okay.
That's where we're starting. All right.
Everything on offense comes back to creating space and then attacking that leverage. So, first of all, let's just look at this is our field, quote unquote. Yeah. Let's just slide over here. There we go.
We need
this is a great data.
We need to prop your whiteboard up at some point. I keep thinking about the fact that we need to do that. But yeah.
So as you can see here, we have hash marks. And here it is. So first thing we need to understand is how we mark up the whiteboard. So the center, we'll put them on the right hash here. So the center is going to be represented by a square. And then you have 2 circles for the other 2 linemen. Okay. Now, in this situation, let's understand, first of all, the difference between the strong side and the weak side. So a lot of people think it's just left versus right or whatever. Not necessarily. So I'm going to write this in red because it's important. So
the first time I've ever been happy to see a red pen in a class.
So as you can see, they're on the right hash. That means, does anybody know which side is going to be the strong side?
The strong side would be the right side. The side of where the hash is at is the strong side.
Yeah,
correct. So strong, and then over this side is the quote unquote weak side. Now there are 2 other words that we need to know to represent each side of the field. Does anybody remember what they are? Scoop.
So weak, I know, can be sourced out with Will and strong with Sam, if that's what you're going for.
Not quite, but yes.
Oh, sorry.
There's
the boundary side.
Boundary.
The boundary side.
Yeah.
Boundary.
Field
and what's the other
boundary.
one? Field and boundary.
Field.
Does anybody know which is which?
I'm guessing field would be the weak side because there's more field on that side.
Correct.
Yep.
And boundary is the strong side because it's closer to the boundary.
Yep.
So field and then
God, my handwriting's terrible.
boundary. I probably spelled boundary wrong, but
I mean, by the way, this will be recorded, so I recommend all of you to go back to this whenever you need to.
Right.
Yeah. No,
So-
it's not. No, it's not. There's an A in there, but it's fine.
Wait,
I figured there was. Now it's gonna piss me off.
hold on. Oh, wait. Back.
Is this better than a class? The students can actually yell at the teacher's spelling.
Yeah.
Well. No, what's hilarious is because one of y'all just said you can go back later. I'm like, yeah, I probably should, since I can't find my glasses right now.
So now this is important because this determines where our receivers are going to line up and where our defenders are also going to line up. So let's just build out the offense. Let's just do a nice, simple shotgun 2x2 set here. Okay, so on the weak side, the field side, our wideout is going to be
The Z?
anybody? Robert says Z. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna say Y because I thought X and Z were on the same side.
Y is the tight end.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's either Z or X.
I missed
Well, I
Slider.
I thought F was the tight end.
Or no, F is.
No.
I always think F is fullback. Okay,
So-
we're lost here.
Yeah, I'm clearly confused.
Wideout on the weak or the field side. X.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then the wideout on the strong side or the boundary side,
Is the Z.
Z. Correcto. And then which side will Y be on like 90% of the time?
On the weak side where the X is. No, it's the other way. Dang it.
Strong
Okay.
side.
Strong side.
So the
okay.
strong side is determined by 2 things. First of all, which side is closer to the boundary, and second of all, which side the tight end is on. And our tight end is represented by Y for whatever reason, I don't know.
I don't know.
As opposed to T.
Yeah, I don't know.
which
Yeah, I
would
don't know.
make a lot
I
more
don't know
sense.
why.
I don't know why.
Well,
exactly. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
Wait.
perfect.
Actually, maybe is it represented by? Because it kind of looks like a T is just rotated. Is that why?
That's not a
Could
bad
be.
thought. That's
I have
really
no
not
idea.
a bad thought at all, actually.
So then we're going to have, obviously, back here, Q is for quarterback. And then
Thank God.
Thank God.
and then
it's
we'll
not
have
another
an
letter.
H, which is halfback or running back. And then F
Slot guy.
is slot guy, slot receiver. Now, F, however, can be, whoa, I didn't mean to drop that. F can be a few different things. F can be a fullback, it can be a second tight end,
Mhm.
or it can be a slot receiver. It just depends on the formation, whatever. So, but generally in today's NFL, it's going to be a slot receiver. Okay. So this is a 2x2 set meaning you have 2 receivers this side, 2 receivers on that side. So that's going to be anytime you have 2 receivers on one side, it's going to be represented by a word that starts with the letter D. Duos, doubles, whatever. If you put the F on the right side,
Trips.
you'd have 3 over there.
Yeah,
Trips.
Or trio, tray, something that starts with T. So 2 on each is D, 3 is T. But for now, we'll just put the F right there. Okay. So a lot of people refer to X as the quote-unquote wide receiver 1 and Z as the 2. That is not correct. There is no such thing in football as a wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. That's just I don't even know where that came from, but
it's a fantasy football terminology and a depth chart terminology. It has nothing to do with on the field basis.
correct.
Except most of the time on a depth chart, your wide receiver 3 or 4 is your slot. That's how depth charts work. But in terms of actual on the field football, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So X, X receiver is kind of your possession guy, your tactical route runner guy that can get tough catches. Z is your speedy guy, quick finesse, stretches the field vertically. And then F, obviously slot guy, we all know what that's like. And then Y, of course, being the tight end. So can anybody guess why Z, despite being on the shorter side of the field, is the faster guy?
Because all of the defense, if you do like a cover 3 set, for instance, the defense will shift to that side, leaving the X open on the field side. Because everyone's going to shift to the speedy guy.
That's part of it, yeah. But the main reason is Z is trying to get vertical. And so, therefore, he's got to get past his defender and not get jammed into the sideline.
Yes.
So if you have your slower X on that side, he'll just get jammed into the sideline, and whereas over here he has horizontal space to work.
Yeah, because the X will technically get jammed by 2 defenders, meaning the corner and the boundary.
Right. So now, let's look at how a defense might line up for this. Let's see. I'll go to a green marker for this. So
it's Christmas.
This is a typical offensive formation that you see in the game today. So we'll pull out a typical defensive formation that matches this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we'll have basically 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, and then 5 DBs. You have on this.
That's already something that I usually get confused by. Is like, how do you determine like what would match that? I know you want to match receivers with corners, but like aside from that, how do you usually determine what you'd want to match personnel? Like how you'd want to match personnel?
Well, we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, first of all, right above the center is going to be M, which stands for
Mike, middle linebacker.
Middle linebacker.
Yep.
That's your quarterback on defense. Okay. Next to him, towards the weak side, is going to be the will linebacker. Weak side linebacker. Right? 'Cause he's on the weak side.
Yep.
And then over here, these
Sam,
days,
strong
side. Typically, he will be on the line. In most defenses these days.
Because he also can work as a linebacker or an edge rusher.
Right. This is a lot like TJ Watt, for instance, is a Sam. He's not an end, which is kind of, he's one example of that. There's plenty
Is
of
that
others,
what? Is that like where they say like I could be transposing it, but like they say like a 3-4 linebacker often is used as a 4-3 end, or like I may have those reversed, but like
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yep. So then next to him, right about here, you have a tackle. And then kind of on the center, a little bit towards the guard, you have your nose. And then over here on the other side, that's a terrible E, is end. Okay, so that's the front six, right?
Oh,
And then from there,
you know how you can remember that? Ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
Why the hell does that work?
It does.
It does, and I'm gonna write that down now.
So that's one way you could do it. Another thing you could do is if you want to have Sam off the line, like in coverage, for example, then you can put him up there, and then put the Will right there, and then slide the end to this side.
I have a question.
What's your question?
Would this be considered a multiple defense?
I mean, this is like any defense, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can see pretty much any defense do this. This is
I would have thought
This
that
is-
was more like a base 4-3.
this. Yeah, I mean, this is like a. This is more like a 3. You would see this more like in a 3-4 probably.
Oh, a 3-4. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
the 3.
Okay.
I thought the 3 was supposed to be the number that was back there, but the 3 is the number that's. No, I'm sorry. I thought the 3 was the number that was on the line, but the first number is the number that's far back.
Well,
Yeah,
no, the
can you
first
explain
number.
that again? Because I
So
always
the-
lose it.
So
yeah,
do I.
so like there's 3-4 and 4-3
Yeah.
or 4-4.
Oh God.
So the
4-4 is primarily for defending the run. By the way, that's what I.
Yes.
Is that like a 40? Is that like what the 46 was that the 85 Bears ran?
No. Wait, hold on. I'll give you a better
Oh,
example.
sorry.
I'll give you a better example, Scoop. Brian Flores in Minnesota. Why we don't like his defense? It's a 4-4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So the first number is how many linemen there are, and then the second number is how many linebackers there are. So this looks like
Okay. Yeah.
So this looks like it would be a 4-2 basically, but
Yeah.
there's
That's why I thought
technically-
it was a 4-3.
But there's technically 3 linebackers. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're
So
just putting in what would be technically a 4-2 look, but it's really
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
So the thing
Okay.
the problem is with 4-3 and 3-4 is hardly anybody actually does that anymore.
Oh.
Because there are very few true 4-3 or 3-4 defenses still left in any level of football because most people nowadays play with 3 receiver sets, so almost everybody has an extra DB to take away. So you often don't actually see a true 4-3 or 3-4, but
Yeah.
you see something more like this. And then, do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought he was waving a sock.
No. I'm asking. I'm in class. I'm asking a question.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, what does Brian Flores do in Minnesota that's different in terms of the visual with a 4-4?
So Flores is usually going to have a second end, and he might have a fifth linemen even. And then, or he'll have 4 guys up front, 3 linebackers, and what's called a stud linebacker, which is like
Excuse me.
the second middle guy.
But that's taking away from the corners on the outside and the safeties over top.
Right. So in that case, you'd have like a corner here and then a
Kurt's ready for
If you
the
want your-
robber concept.
Kurt says if you want your head to spin, have him explain the robber concept. Kurt, how you doing?
we're gonna
Robber's
get
not that brutal because it's like
we're gonna get there in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we're gonna
that'll be
get there
week
in a few
Okay, a
weeks.
couple weeks.
That'll be week 3. So
Oh,
you have
all
like
right, cool.
a corner here, and then normally you would have either the will linebacker on the slot guy or else the safety come down.
Yeah, because you're
So-
limited. You're limited on the hash marks because you're
Yeah.
focused. Yeah, because that's what's stopping the run. That's why Brandon's always upset when guys stack the box against Saquon because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, because you have
we
1,
proceed
2,
to run
3,
inside
4,
zone.
5.
Yeah,
I
and then
mean,
you
you
still
have-
run inside zone.
Because you have 6 potential blockers here and 8 guys in the box, so you're outnumbered for running. But it works great if you're passing because as long as you can get out to one of these guys quickly, well, then there's nothing but green grass in front of them. But we're not going to focus on this because it's stupid and Brian Flores is a fraud. Anyways,
Yeah. By the way,
It's safe to say none of us are trying to get jobs on the Vikings.
Scoop. By the way, speaking of your guys' is coach that I still want to know. I would love to give him a week to do one of these or 2. So if we can get him on the show for him to do one.
Yeah, well, I just put as a response to Kurt. I just said we need to get Coach Brislin in here because I think he and Shane. I mean, I could listen to he and Shane go back and forth for 4 hours, and I would just be sitting here with my coffee, just drinking it in.
Yeah, I want to just give him a couple seminars.
Did you guys
on-
see after the Super Bowl, with the first Super Bowl between the Giants and Patriots? Did you see Steve Spagnuolo and Josh McDaniels go back and forth?
Yeah.
That was fun.
I don't think I processed what you said just then.
That first Giant Patriots Super Bowl and how crazy they were on the sideline.
Oh no, I was 6 years old.
We should
right,
rewatch that game. Anyway, continue, Shane.
so typically what we'll see in a balanced look like this is so we'll get into a nickel package, which is where you have 5 defensive backs. And so just like how the wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 is a myth, CB1 and 2 is also a myth.
Yeah, CB 2 and 3 technically are supposed to cover the slot guy, mostly 3 in terms of depth charts. But again, they don't actually matter because they. But really quick, as Scoop and Brandon know, the Eagles will always shift their guys because they think their guys can do everything, which they can.
Yeah.
So they're always going to shift them. So there's not an actual.
So I need to stop saying we need a CB2 because apparently all we need is a CB3.
Well, we do need the CB2.
We just need to replace Adoree Jackson. That's all we need to say.
Basically,
Well,
you need a guy.
Tariq Woolen.
Tariq Woolen comes in as a guy who, just like he did in Seattle, can shift everywhere on the field like the rest of your defense.
So here's the thing. So
He just needs to shift himself away from getting penalties again. Anyway, go on.
So
Facts. It's not wrong.
Yeah. No
Okay.
kidding. So if we remember, this is the X is the tactical route runner, the possession guy. Z is the speedy, quick finesse guy. So for our corners, we want to have guys that match that. So
Right.
on this side is does anybody remember?
Wait,
I mean,
hey,
all I know what corners. Wait, can I ask a quick question before you continue?
Yes.
For a slot guy, what do you want a slot guy to do? Like, what is his focus
On offense?
Yes.
Basically just, I mean, ideally you want someone who's just like a little tougher and more physical and can kind of catch balls in traffic with
Like catching
linebackers and
traffic.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would that have been for us last year? Would that have been like Dotson or was Smith?
That would have been Dotson.
That's
That's what I thought.
last year. Dotson, and then for us, it was actually Cooper Kupp last year.
Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
and-
sense.
Okay, I don't know what they are for the
Well,
corners. I don't think we know.
if you're on that side, it's a field side corner. So it's
Oh,
Yep.
field corner.
That's what I was
Good
going to
job,
say, but I
Brady.
was like, I thought he meant something else because I was like, that was my first
It
thought.
sounds
Okay.
so simple.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
does
So
because
field
they're
corner
literally
on that
sitting right
side.
there.
And
For
strong side
Philly,
corner.
this is Quinion Mitchell. And then
Quinyon
this
Mobe.
side. So if this is field side, then the corner on the other side is going to be the
The strong side corner. The boundary corner.
boundary.
Boundary corner.
And we mark it with BC.
BC. So easy.
So then we have the third guy, which is the nickel. So we mark that with NB. And it's called, and does anybody know why it's called nickel?
Because you said it because it's $5.
Yeah. So 5 cents. You know.
Yeah. And then,
Oh, that's what. Okay, that makes
yeah.
sense.
And
That's
then,
funny, actually.
and then dime is 6, right?
Dime is 6.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, but
yeah,
anyways.
that's a bit weird.
I think it's just because you go up one denomination, you go up one back, I guess.
Yeah. And so, so like for Philly, right, you have Mitchell, boundary corner. You'll have Woolen because he's super fast.
Coop's in the slot.
And then, Cooper DeJean is the nickel.
DeJean, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Ow.
and then you have for safeties on the field side, the weak side, you have the free safety. And then on this
Strong
side,
safety.
you have the strong safety.
Is
And-
free safety the one that they often sometimes refer to as the roaming safety?
Yes. Although strong safety, usually you'll see on whiteboards marked as rover safety. Because free safety is typically the one that's faster and is going
That makes
to,
sense.
because he has a lot more ground to cover over here.
Right.
And so he's kind of the one that's like playing center field, if you will.
Yeah.
Great example that would be Earl Thomas, right?
Right.
And then the strong safety is not as quick, but the reason they often call him rover safety is because he can be up here as a safety. He can come down in the box as almost like another linebacker. He can even be on the line, like in the slot. So he kind of rovers around.
And this is something we talked about a lot with oh my god, with the Seahawks and how they won the Super Bowl was how they used rover in very unique ways.
Yeah, with Eamon Wari.
There we go.
He's the rover. That's like the one. That's like the heavier hitter, right?
Right. So so like
That's
Cam
Brian
Chancellor.
Dawkins. Well, Brian
Brian-
Dawkins.
yeah,
Brian
Brian
Dawkins. Yeah.
Paul Amalu, I believe, was a rover.
Yes.
Cam Chancellor.
I keep thinking of the guy from the Ravens, but his name's escaping me right now.
Ed Reed.
Kyle
Ed Reed,
Hamilton
thank you.
and Ed Reed. Yeah.
Yeah. Ed Reed, I believe, was free. If I'm
Well,
not mistaken.
I think Dawkins played mostly free.
Oh, did he?
You can
I
have
don't know.
guys who are hard hitters on each side, but you rather have them on the rover.
Yeah. But another reason you typically do the R on the whiteboard as opposed to S is because you already have Sam for the S, so you don't want to like make
That
it
that makes
confusing,
a lot of sense.
Yeah. So typically you just do R. I guess you could do BS. That'd be funny.
I think there's a reason that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So now, okay. So these are all the positions and how we mark them.
Yeah.
Before I continue, are there any questions about any of this?
Yes.
Robert.
You said offense is space and leverage. What are the 2 words for defense? If there was 2 words.
Basically not giving up those 2 things.
There's no
I mean
specific-
that's really that's really what it is. It's just it's not letting them create space or leverage.
Okay.
It's one thing that the defensive coordinator on my team always says is we guard men and every blade of grass.
The blades
Right.
of grass. Yeah, blades of
Yeah.
grass.
That way, they can't make space and attack leverage and whatever else. So this is, this is a balanced formation, right? Where you have two receivers on each side. Let's say, however, it is a, what's the word? Off balance. So we have
Excuse me.
3 on. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Confirm.
Whoops, daisies. So let's say the offense comes out in an unbalanced set where they have
Excuse me.
3
You're good, Scoop, you're
receivers
good.
I got to get my other energy drink in a second.
on one side.
I love Scoop is actually treating this like a high schooler. Energy drinks, coffee, we love it.
I'm almost through my whole first page of notes.
Hell yeah.
So here's a little bonus question for next week.
Oh,
If we have 3 receivers on one side and the Y is attached to the line, does anybody know what this formation is called?
damn it. I do, but when you said attach, I
Strong?
damn it.
No.
I remember we went over this like 2 months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, we did. Shit.
Remember if it's 2 by 2, it starts with a D. If it's 3 by 1, it starts with a T.
Yeah.
So trips, tray.
Tray.
Okay,
Well, yeah.
tray.
Okay, I would have never
Right.
gotten that.
If it's trio, Y will be in the middle here.
Ah!
That's trio.
Mhm.
But if Y is still attached,
It's trips
tray.
or tray. What's
Wasn't
trips?
isn't trio just bunch?
Trips is basically. Trips
Bunch.
is just
That's bunch is the
yeah,
word I was
bunch.
thinking of.
yeah. Trips is nothing in particular. It's just a generic term for 3 receivers on one side.
I was gonna say the one.
Madden does not help with this at all.
No, it doesn't
No.
because the way you just had it, I was like, that looks like he's just gonna run like a basic 4 vert concept.
So let's see.
Oh god, 4 verts. Now I have freaking PTSD from the playbook last year.
All right, so you have 3 receivers. So now the offense is not in a balanced set. So this is where things get interesting because now the defense can, you're forcing the defense to decide, do they overload on this side or do they stay balanced? Right? So, for instance, let's say the halfback comes out over here.
It's a 2x3 look then, because the halfback is essentially a receiver, correct?
And does anybody know what this is called when
Empty.
there's no? What did you say, Brandon?
Isn't it empty?
Empty. Yeah, when the quarterback's back there all by himself and you got 5 guys on the line.
Yeah, that's our QB draw play right there.
Yeah, that is actually funny
Yeah.
enough.
And that's a great example of attacking space because a lot of times teams will get in this formation and so then they'll respond accordingly with a nickel or dime formation. And then you'll have, let's say,
Excuse me.
guy over here, and then Maybe free safety comes down this way, you know. So now, taking advantage of space, leverage, you got all this space right here where you can get it to X on a quick slant. You can do a QB draw.
Quarterback can just power right through there if the offensive line blocks well enough.
Yeah, so.
But you got to explain that. That's the middle of the field. Brandon and I don't know what that is.
Yeah, we
We
don't
don't
know
use
what
that. Our playbook doesn't have that.
So formations do two things. They equal stress for the defense, and they also equal information, because you're kind of forcing them to show their hand. And that's why like Seattle's defense is so good, is because you can come out in any formation and they're going to look the exact same on defense pre-snap. As Mike McDonald say, they do not care, right? So that goes into the kind of the mind games with football.
the chess match.
Yes.
It's kind of like that. I don't remember which one it was, but there was like the fighter, boxer, wrestler, whatever he was, that said, I know whether I've won or lost before they even get into the ring or something.
Yeah, that was Tyson. Tyson and Holyfield both were very much like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then let's see. So where were my notes? What did I want to talk about next?
While you're finishing that, I got to grab something real quick.
Yes.
Get your energy drinks.
All right,
This is what we call in school a bathroom break.
Yeah.
Scoop, you need a hall pass before you go.
Yeah. How many notes have you taken so far, Brandon? I've only taken a little bit because obviously we're
I
recording.
mean, I have like 2/3 of a page. Well, because I know Scoop overanalyzes, so he probably wrote down everything that Shane has said to this point, like every little thing.
Which is great. That's the entire point of this.
Yeah, I've got everything from the opening space and leverage comment to strong side, weak side, the meaning of the receivers, the lettering for for the duo versus trips thing. I've got the linebackers. They each mean, even though I kind of knew what they meant, but still, it's good to write to remember it. And then of course what nickel and dime is recently, and then what 3-4, 4-3, and 4-4 are. So that's what I've got pretty much so far.
Yeah, and really quick while we're waiting for Scoop, it was funny because while we were getting out our notebooks, Brandon was like, "Oh my god, I found so many of my college notes that I've taken, just collection over the years of all your college."
And they were all useless.
They're all useless.
I wish.
All right, what I missed?
I wish all that.
Nothing.
I was just resetting. I was just
You
resetting the board.
no.
Okay.
Scoop, you got a hall pass. You did a bathroom break, so everybody paused in class because there's only 3 of us. All right, please continue.
So this is. So now let's look at how do we determine if it's best to run or pass, right?
Yes, exactly.
Scoop needs this for Madden. He's confused.
So
am I. I don't know how to do this.
So first of all, there's situations, right? When's a bad time to run the ball? Like as far as down and distance.
As far as down and distance, I would say like 3rd and 10.
Yeah,
Third,
second or just second and long.
Like second and long can be tough unless you think you can get the yards. Yeah.
Kevin Patullo, welcome back.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it also depend on who you have in your backfield?
But yes, because
Yeah,
if you have Saquon, if you believe like Saquon in the year you guys won the Super Bowl, they tried to stack the box as much as possible, and he would just power through everybody. There's also a lot of physicality.
Because there's the speed backs versus the physical backs, etc.
Think about Derrick Henry and how much he sucks for defenses.
Right.
Here's
So when it comes to, so there's that to consider, right? Okay, what's the situation down and distance? What part of the game am I in, right? But then the other thing is just looking at the field. So the main thing we want to look at for running or passing or whatever is,
Can we do running first and then pass? Well, is it combined a little bit? Oh, it is. Yeah.
we want to look in the box.
100. Okay, I see this. 100%.
If we, so how many defenders are in the box?
6.
And how many possible blockers are in the box?
4.
It's 6 because the Y could be too.
Or the Y could be a blocker. If you're running the ball, your Y is a blocker. 99%.
Wait,
of the time.
hang on. Where's the
Y at the end?
The
Oh,
Y
I'm
at
sorry.
the end, the tight end.
I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong. I don't know why. I completely sharded out. My bad.
You're fine. So, in that case, this is a run happy situation because we know that hypothetically every guy in the box will be accounted for.
Mhm.
Now, let's say you have let's say they're in a 4-3. We have another end over here and a Sam right there. Now, this is not an ideal run situation because you have an extra defender. So either you got to bring, I don't know why I wrote F in green. He's an offensive player, not defensive. Either you got to bring your F up to
inside.
the will.
Yeah.
Or something like that, or you pass, right? Because hypothetically, 4 receivers or even 5 receiving targets and only 4 guys outside of the box. That's a more favorable matchup.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, Shane. Can I explain a Madden concept here of how you handle this? So what you can do in Madden is you can use your D-pad, and your D-pad can be put on the F. So what I do if I'm in a running situation like this, I will move the F either inside to the will, or I'll shift. If I'm running to the right, I'll shift them completely to the right side, and I'll make them stop right where, if you move a halfback, if you put that halfback and put it on the right side, that's exactly where I would move my F. I'd move them right behind where so my F is right in front of my halfback when I'm going down that side.
Yeah. So in that case, it's like a fullback.
Yes.
Hence the original meaning of
F.
Hence the reason why it's F and not something else.
So in this situation, when you're passing, right, like where you have it set up, what could you explain how you can, in this setup, if you're passing, can you explain what your first, second, and third read hypothetically would be?
Well, that's tricky because, I mean, it used to be. So if the defense is not disguised, if you have, if you're in a balanced look like this, typically, just looking at this, kind of looks like cover 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, ideally, you're thinking you're going to want to go inside out. Whereas if it was like cover 3 or cover 1, you'd want to look outside first. And the reason for that is because if it's cover 2, right, the safeties are going to be just kind of covering this general area right here, which is right above X. So you're going to leave a little bit of an open space like right here for F running like a post or a seam or tight end, either or, running, like post, seam, sail, whatever. But then if you're in, cover 1 or cover 3, typically it's going to be more in the middle. So you're going to leave the numbers, right? Like over here, that's going to be more open for either your X or your Z. The problem is so many defenses disguise what they do now. So it's hard to have a pre-snap read. I mean, you can, it's good to like think about it beforehand, but this is kind of what what Kirk Cousins was talking about at the podium. Sometime I forget when it was, but
it was towards the later half of the season, like a couple weeks after Thanksgiving. We talked about it.
Yeah. So,
Question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so when you've got the two guys, the two safeties back there in cover 2, is that the same thing as what they refer to when you say like too high shell or whatever, or is that a different thing?
Yeah, for the most part. Too high shell is more so like just like the pre-snap formation. Okay. So like if you have so this would be a too high shell because there's 2 safeties up high, right?
Yeah, that's basically what I meant, but I asked it in a very awkward way.
No, you're good. But then if you wanted to afterwards, I mean, you could drop into a cover 2, or I forget who was saying in the comments, but he said wait till you get to the robber concept. That was
Kurt Valenti.
Yeah, Kurt. So this is when you would do that. You have the free safety coming up here, and then have rover or strong safety come down in here, and so there you go. If you want your heads to spin, so that's it right there. So it looks like cover 2, but it ends up being cover 1 because the rover comes down like that. So, and this concept fooled Philadelphia many times this year. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Sorry, boys.
So
everything fooled Philadelphia this year.
Yeah. So
if you run 3
yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times corners, they'll be a lot of people think they just line up like head on with the receiver.
Yeah,
typically they don't. Usually they are either inside like a step or 2 or outside a step or 2 from the receiver. So that's and it just depends on the set and the formation, whatever, but typically if the corner is a little bit outside of the receiver, you're going to want to try to work inside, and vice versa, right? So typically, Robert.
Yes. So in Madden, when I try to look at the outside and like where the corners are lined up, it does matter, correct? In real life, same thing. Like if they give you space, to use that space to fool the corner, and if it's tighter, to kind of try to jam them to maybe give me, like for example with the FC here, right? Where it's lined up, where you have it lined up, I would think, okay, I'm gonna go to a streak to jam him, and then if the safety doesn't come down, I have F towards the outside in an out route, or towards the top end of the field side. Is that correct?
Yeah. So typically field corner is going to be outside, because that way, there's all this extra space over here. So he's trying to push the X inside where there's more traffic. So he'll be like right here playing out. They call it outside shade. And then boundary corner is the opposite. They're going to want to be a little bit inside so that they can try and shove him into the boundary.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scoop also had a question. Scoop.
Yeah, Scoop.
So talking about how they typically the corners will line up like either just inside or just outside. If they're like just over it, is that like an indicator of press or is that a different thing?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, press can also be off a little bit.
They can still be
know.
off the okay.
Or not off the line. They can be
Like
they
off
can line
center.
up. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And then that gets into a whole other conversation of like different defensive back coverages that you can do, but
That's
I would
for
say-
another day, probably.
that's
Yeah.
for week 3. So, anyways, this is more or less what I wanted to do today. Just kind of getting familiar with like just the basics, like
Ow.
what we're actually looking at, and then just understanding like, okay, when do we run or pass and why, and looking at how you can change your formation to throw the defense off, whatever.
So it does primarily for you. It does primarily for you come down to Brett, Brad Pitt, and 7 here. But what's in the box?
For the most part, that is, I mean, yeah, that's a big piece of it, and there's
Okay.
I mean, there's a reason why, we've been saying for several years now the Super Bowl is won in the trenches.
Yeah.
And that's and there's a reason for that, because that dictates everything, right? If
Yeah.
if you have a loaded box, you're not going to run very much, or I mean, you can try, but it's not going to work out too well. And vice versa, so like, for like for the Philly Super Bowl win 2 years ago.
Which one? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one?
Sorry.
the more recent.
Yeah.
That game was a fantastic example of this, because in that game they pretty much always had 6 guys in the box.
Yeah.
And it was like, no matter, so like, Kansas City would try to run.
Yeah.
But it's just because it was it was the 6-on-6 matchup that they had, and they were taking their chances, but their 6 blockers were just not as good as their 6 defenders in the box. They
There's
absolutely
a really good question here on YouTube. Is that what you're going to get to, Rob?
Barrett has a really great question. So I'll read it out for you, Shane. How would you respond to Tripp's look to the boundary? Would you shade towards the strength of the formation or favor the actual space on the field?
Let's see. Okay, leave that up for just a second. So, as far as like defense goes, I assume that's what they mean here. Yeah. So if you're trips to the boundary, you'd want, yeah.
And thank you for the question, Barrett. We really
thank
Yeah,
you.
that's a good question.
That is a good. Yeah.
Muchas gracias, as our friends to the south would say.
Yes.
Let's see. So, yeah. So this is, it's the same thing. I mean, typically you would, try to match it and have like the nickel on that side, and then it'd be the same thing. You'd want to still try to get Z to the boundary, and then have this, field side jam X towards the inside. just because even though there's obviously one less defender on this side, there is still the safety, the mic, right? There's people over here.
There's people.
And hey, it's a lot better than letting him get outside and work with all this. You know what I mean? Because that would be, I mean, that's something that like JSN is really good at. Because people are always saying like, how is he so good? It's because a lot of times he's so shifty and he just beats that initial coverage there. And again, finding space and attacking that leverage. So he's getting to the outside, finding this open space, and getting the ball.
It's like the same thing when they say that a tight end like a Travis Kelce is good at sitting down in open space. Literally,
Right.
beating a guy off the line and finding the open space and sitting down right there.
Yeah. It's the same thing. So in any case, great question. And we'll get next week, we'll get more into like, nuances and different formations and stuff and how it affects things. But,
Yes.
but for now,
Scoop is geeking out right now. This is
I am.
I feel like this is a good starting point just to kind of get everybody caught up to speed with like, what we're just actually looking at, and just kind of the language that goes into it.
All right.
Any other questions from the three of you before we wrap that up for today?
Barrett, again, thank you very much for the question. That was fantastic. Not from me. Anything from you, Scoop, or you, Brandon?
Oh wait, hold on. Oh, Scoop. There it is.
An X that finishes its routes. What's that like from Scoop? Yeah. That's the right question. You could have just said that. You didn't have to comment. Add into the thing.
Brandon was also talking. I didn't want to interrupt him.
That's so funny.
I wasn't because I was gonna say not much, and then all of a sudden I see that comment. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I know where that's going.
Well, it was also on like a 30-second delay. So
yeah.
All right.
So your homework is to study for the midterm, and
I graduated college, so I wouldn't have to learn anymore.
it'll be
26th year of my life. The first time I've ever asked, can we get evaluated on this?
No, oh my God!
No.
One of those
after
kids?
one lesson.
Teacher, where's the homework? Teacher, where's the quiz? Shut the hell up!
In this, you're damn right I am.
It'll be a 60 question exam.
Out of my foot.
Out of my foot. That's how I feel with a 60 question exam.
Closed note.
No, it's how I foot when I never mind. I don't know why I would talk.
All right. Really quick, just gonna plug our sponsor.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you, Shane. Really quick.
Sure.
Gonna
Hope that
plug
wasn't too boring.
No, I thought it was amazing.
Hell no.
Thank you. Really quick, just want to plug our sponsor once again.
Yes.
Lion Coffee Company.
Lion Coffee.
Whether you're studying football like we did just now, looking forward to the draft, or getting ready for the start of the baseball season or the weeks ahead in baseball, you can always use a pick-me-up with Lion Coffee Co. This one is the toasted coconut flavor. I have the regular Kona flavor with me right here. And then, of course, the Diamond Head roast. And one that I'm really looking forward to trying, vanilla macadamia.
Sounds so good.
Yeah, you can go to hawaiicoffeecompany.com. Go order these. I think there's a discount code right there as well for some of the bigger bags. So go check those out. As we go to our final segment of the day, basically this came from a lot of my discussions with Brandon and the fact that he's a big John Wick fan. And I was like, okay, the modern version, I would argue, of John Wick in a certain ways, Extraction. You're like, I've never seen that. I don't know much about it. It is a Netflix original series written by Joe Russo, directed by who's the director's name? Directed by a former stunt double, actually, one of the best stunt doubles in the industry, which you can kind of tell based on the film itself. In Sam Hartgrave, who's been an incredible stunt double for a long time, and he got put to direct this, and you could see a lot of that stunt work, that stunt cinematography in this film. This is I always forget about this franchise, and it's going to become a franchise because actually, ironically, as we're doing this, they're about to film the third one in June in Sydney. I always forget about it, but it is definitely my favorite franchise. I think Chris Hemsworth, this is his Apex Mountain. This is his best role, I think, over Thor by a mile. I don't think the first one does a great job of showcasing it. The second one does a way better job, at my point as to why. But we had to do the first one because there's a lot of context. Obviously, to do the second one, you got to do the first one. But I think the first one definitely showcases a lot of what I wanted to talk about in terms of the stunt work, the camera work, and also Chris Hemsworth, just super aggressive and physical performance, as well as these really impressive emotional beats. Really what this film is from a structural point, especially the first one, especially Extraction 1, is its emotional moment, hardcore action scene. Emotional moment, hardcore action scene. It kind of just goes through that through the 2 hours. And honestly, this is like a movie where you can just get a bag of popcorn, don't care about just turn your brain off and just enjoy the ride. And that's really what they tried to do. That's really what Sam Hartgrave and Joe Russo wrote this, try to do. Not, don't go to, it's not a like iconic, like best movie of all time, but it's a turn your brain off, enjoy the film, put it on Netflix and watch it. And it also doesn't do the thing that Netflix does now where you have to repeat the plot over and over and over. They were very focused on, hey, we want to make this a film, like a real film that you can turn your brain off and watch and really enjoy, while also it really being perfectly made for streaming, I would argue. I imagine it would be better in theaters, but this is perfectly made for streaming. Brandon, I did pick this specifically because I know you are a John Wick fan. How did this hit for you?
It was right along. I mean, it's funny because when you get to like a movie like this with I think a slightly less runtime than John Wick, like I expected it to get into the action right away, and it did. And that's why I was like, yes, thank you. Don't waste time on building it up for like 15, 20 minutes. We don't need an exposition here. Like, no, just keep it the way it is. And it did that. And I think that there were some moments where I'm like, where I found myself getting a little bit lost in it because I'm like, okay, I'm trying to keep track of all the people in this movie.
Yeah. And by the way, the second one handles that a lot better.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest problem with this movie. That's why I prefer the second one. But again, I had to make you guys watch this one first. So there you go.
Yeah, and you have a lot of like you have a lot of underdeveloped characters. So it's like you just don't know anything about them. You're kind of just thrown right into the middle of like, what this guy does he's a mercenary. Okay. Here's the people he works with that he's known forever. Okay. Here's like, it's a lot like, and of course they didn't have a ton of runtime because the movie says 2 hours, but the credits go for like, 15 minutes for some reason. So really it's more of like an hour and 40 minutes. So it's
like an hour 30. Yeah. It's very quick.
Yeah. It's quick, but it's like, it definitely like itches that sweet spot for me as a John Wick fan. It's just like the one thing I've come to realize though is like, like by the end of it, I'm like, my God, I'm like, okay, so this guy is basically unkillable because all these gunshot wounds would have killed somebody.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, John Wick kind of does that too, where it's like by the third movie, you're like, okay, like this guy quite literally is like the boogeyman. He doesn't die. He can't die. But like, and so that's what I found myself saying after this one. I was like, oh my God, like how many times is he gonna get shot and lose that much blood and not die? Like the thing is like, and not just on the blood loss, but like the fact that it's like these wounds are massive. That's Infection City. Like
100%. 100%. This universe takes those liberties. It
yeah,
does.
but it's fine 'cause it's fun. You know, you want to believe in something fun, and yeah, Patrick's right. Yeah, Sisu and Sisu, I think
Sisu,
is
yeah.
a Sisu is a John Wick spinoff. I think it's produced or directed by the same people that directed the first, I think, 2 movies or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's in the same kind of world as John Wick,
Yeah.
more or less. But
This feels separate from John Wick, but it also feels very connected in terms of
well,
ideas, which is why it's fun.
to me, this is like Australian military John Wick. This is not.
Yes.
This isn't a hitman technically, because he does. You know, he has to kind of, you know, obviously, you
Extract. It's
Yeah.
it's called extraction. You're extracting
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, like, so it's not just, hey, kill everything you see and get the job done, and then it doesn't matter who you hurt. It's like, no, there's rules you have to play by here. But at the same time, yeah, like from the open, I just love it. Like, to me, like, my mom saw this before I did, because she came by today. She was like, "Oh, what are you watching?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching Extraction." She's like, "Oh yeah, I know what that is." I'm like, "How do you know?" I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, she has Netflix and I don't, so I never heard about this movie. That's why."
Yeah.
But now that I've heard about it and seen it, I'm like, yep, I will be watching every single one they make from here on out.
Well, I'm hyping this up, and I mean it. The second one is a million times better. The second one is a more framed movie. This is more of an introduction.
I would think so. Yeah, this kind of plays out like was it like in media res, where it's like, you know, right in the middle of the action, pretty much, and then you're kind of just following the rest of that.
The second one has the second one has a lot more development than this one. This movie to me is more of like what Iron Man is to the MCU.
Like here, it's establishing a baseline.
It's establishing a baseline, and then the second one we're going full speed ahead.
Yeah. Like, it's like, okay, here's all the characters you need to know in this first movie. Some die, some will live, and then the ones that live here, you know, now we're going to flesh it out in the second one.
Yes, and that's exactly what this does, and that's why I like the second one a lot more. But I think the first one does a lot of really good things.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like, well, like I found myself, like, the only thing I will say is that it goes so fast that if you don't actually sit there and watch the whole thing straight through, you'll miss a lot of stuff. So
I had to go, but you still have to go back. I did a lot of rewinding too.
It moves at like a breakneck speed, and it should. It's like that's how a good action movie to me should be. It's like I don't want to sit there and have too long of a period in between action sequences. So like I like that a lot. I like the fact that we kind of have like action sequence, small beat, action sequence, small beat. Like, I'm like, okay, good. That's kind of how I want an action movie broken up, because I want to have fun watching it. That was fun. So like I really think that, you know, is it going to rival John Wick? I mean, hell, if the second one is that good, maybe. I mean, but you know, John Wick is still, in my heart of hearts, probably my favorite action series.
And also, I come from a world where I haven't seen John Wick.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Same here.
But this is gonna make me watch it.
Like
Scoop. Okay, yeah, he just doesn't have his glasses.
Yeah, like put it this way, is like when it comes.
Yeah,
to,
sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're good.
Like, Keanu Reeves is a good action star, and it took until John Wick for people to actually fully realize that, because I'm like, clearly you guys didn't watch stuff like Speed. Like, clearly you guys didn't watch, like, you know, Constantine, where he plays. I mean, that's kind of a Marvel movie,
DC movie.
But you know, it's like
wow, even you messed that up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't, because the thing is, he's not really a full-fledged like superhero.
Constantine is a very like deep DC character. Like,
yeah,
he's a kind of dark one.
Like they, you know, like it's like, you know, obviously the Matrix. Like, Keanu Reeves is an action star that people don't give enough credit to him for. When he does his action movies, he doesn't get enough credit because he's good at what he does.
Yeah. Can I ask you this though? Just to kind of move you back to this. Nobody's a good call, Patrick.
I heard that. Yeah, I gotta watch that.
I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about Chris Hemsworth? You can compare it to John Wick if you want, but just Chris Hemsworth in this role to me is just him being the best version of himself, an Australian guy. Did you feel that with him, like in this role, especially compared to Thor, where it's all methodical and stuff? This is just him being him in a role, and that's the best, I think.
like when it comes to this movie, this almost feels like this just feels like a more unpolished but a more fun ride, like just a more fun version of John Wick. Whereas like John Wick actually takes itself seriously enough. This one, like for a lot of it, it doesn't take itself that seriously, but it takes it just seriously enough for it to be like a good movie, for it to really be done right. And there's certain things I can nitpick, like I said, the 1,000 gunshot wounds. Like, yeah, ain't nobody surviving that. Like
Sorry.
or like a lot of the grenade scenes. I'm like, first of all, if you're throwing a grenade where it's only going like 50 to 100 feet, you're blowing up with that grenade.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's not just blowing up right there in front of you and then you walk away from it. Like, that's not how that works. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, if you're gonna chuck that damn thing, you better chuck it. Like, they're sitting there just going like this. I'm like, this isn't Magic Johnson with a no look pass, bro. Like, you need to actually chuck the damn grenade if you're gonna throw it. Like, that's why it's like, okay, I'm nitpicky about that a little bit.
No, I'm nitpicky about it too, but I'm nitpicky about it in a fun way. Like, it's so unrealistic that I enjoy the unrealism
Like,
of it.
it's just a more unserious but yet somehow more fun version of John Wick. And it's it's just like, John Wick thinks of itself, like that universe thinks of itself as a serious thing. This clearly doesn't, but it's like that's fine because it doesn't need to be.
It's funny you say that because to me, Extraction is far more realistic than John Wick.
Is it? Well,
I think it is far more realistic, but I think it takes itself less seriously. Wait, can you expand on that, Shane?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your approach to this film? What do you think?
I mean, just John Wick, like for instance, when they're walking down that, is it like a mall or something? I don't know. John Wick's down here, and then there's another guy up here, and they're like shooting at each other with silencers.
Oh yeah,
just like in the middle of the public, and no one has any idea. It's like, no, silencers are not that quiet.
That would never happen. Yeah,
and you would see the flashes going. Like like that scene always drives me crazy. But there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, continue on Extraction though, because I have a lot of questions for you on this as well. But
well, I mean, Extraction, I really like the choreography and
yeah.
See, I like it more. I like it more in John Wick. I mean, I love this. Like, I like the style, but I like John Wick's like the gun fu stuff a lot more.
Gun fu.
Well, that's the thing.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, I mean,
it's literally gun fu. Yeah.
No, it is.
Gun fu. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's gun fu because it's kung fu with guns.
Yeah, no, I've just never heard it before.
Like that stuff is cool, but like to me, this is. This feels a lot more grounded and real, and and just
it might be the production values that throw me off because John Wick's a lot higher.
This is a Netflix movie. There's no production value.
Yeah.
Because when I watch John Wick, I'm like, oh, that's cool, but like that's fake. Like that's very choreographed, and it's just it still looks cool, but it's just Whereas Extraction, I'm like, oh god, he's like beating the hell out of that dude. And it's just, yeah. And yeah, I do think Hemsworth, this is, probably his. I wouldn't say his best performance. I'd say that's probably Rush. But this, it's up there. I think. Because he's very. I mean, yeah, on the surface he's this mercenary, but he's pretty broken, and just you can kind of just like feel how exhausted he is. And I love
Man.
And
I don't want to interrupt people.
It's fine. I interrupt people all the time. This show's about organic.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, okay.
But by the way, I think it is funny that you're doing it in comments because it makes the reactions funny.
Yeah, well, it's just like because every time it's two things I think of. I either think of Big Time Rush or I just think of Fly By Night. And
No,
now
Big
that's
Time Rush.
yeah.
Oh my god. All right, Shane, continue.
But I love the Bangladesh setting. I think it works so well for this story.
The
'Cause it just
environment is
feels like-
beautiful. The environment is
Yeah.
so grounded and beautiful.
Like, it just feels so chaotic and intense, and that's that's a lot of times, like, in a lot of movies like this take place in Southeast Asian cities for that reason, because they're just so busy and populated, and so it's easy to, when you introduce a little chaos into that environment, just for it to seem all the more like, oh my god, it's just because there's all these reactions everywhere and all. Whereas normally you go there and people are just like hanging out and whatever, chilling, but you can take advantage of all that, and yeah, and and it's just, there's certain things where it's just like, you see him sweating through his shirt, and like you can just feel the humidity, and yeah, but I think ultimately, though, where it falls short is, like, it is a very basic story.
yeah, it's
like,
extremely basic. Yep.
It's mercenary saves kidnapped kid. I mean, we've seen that a million times.
And
it's
that,
not-
but
it's
again,
not-
but again, I keep repeating myself, and I'm gonna be honest here. I don't love this movie that much, because I think the second one tops it by a million. But you have to watch this one in order to get the second one done. That's the issue.
That's what's interesting to me, because the parallel I always draw with these two movies is Uncharted 1 versus Uncharted 2.
Exactly. Actually, for me, it was more Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 3. A little bit.
Okay.
Just
yeah,
like the hype.
that's-
Because when you play Uncharted 1, you have the PS2, PS3 era kind of low edge quality. And you hit PS3, and then you hit PS4 with Uncharted 3 and then 4, and it's like, oh crap. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not even that, but it's just like, the first one played it very safe, very basic treasure story and whatever. Like, it was still fun, but it's just, and kind of the like jungle-ish setting. And then the second one, it's like they go to the cold, the snow, the mountains, and it's like the stakes are raised, the villains are more interesting. It's like everything's just a little bit better. They dive into everything more. It totally reminds me of that.
Yeah. And that's why I like the series too. It's like the
Yeah.
first movie is so basic that when you watch the second movie, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We went here. Like, it's stunning. I mean,
No, because I remember when they announced that there was a second one, and I was like, okay, whatever.
That's
like,
yeah.
But then I watched it, and I was like, oh, that was
Yeah.
actually really good. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then,
Don't
and
we're
now-
not spoiling it, because we're gonna do that next week.
No,
That's
no.
next week.
but now it has lifted my opinion of the first movie.
Exactly.
Like, it
Yes.
brought it up a little bit. So, yeah.
Um,
Anyways,
Can I ask you one specific question though? Because this is my
can.
dying question for the movie guy here.
yeah.
What does it mean to have a famous stunt double direct a movie like this? To understand how to shoot action scenes, to understand how to move the camera and the cinematography, to have him have that understanding and direction. Because Chris Hemsworth always talks about that was the biggest key for doing this film, for doing this series, was Sam Hargrave's direction and understanding of of choreography for these hardcore action scenes. When you think about that, what kind of comes to mind?
Yeah. Well,
It's
It's
a little
funny
bit more profound in the second one, to be fair. We'll get back
Yeah.
to this more in the second one, but
it's interesting because it's a lot of people don't think about this, but and I know a lot of stunt people, and they are probably the biggest movie nerds of all the people that work in that industry, which you wouldn't necessarily think so. Um, but they are constantly watching action movies and like Hong Kong movies because they have a lot of stunts and like martial arts and stuff in them. And so yeah, it's like most directors just think like, okay, wouldn't it be cool if he fights 10 guys here? But a stunt guy would be thinking, okay, where's every position? What's the timing of each hit? Where's the camera during each movement? How do we go from point A, B to C seamlessly, right? Block it, time it, everything like that. And also, I've worked with some of those stunt people as directors. And the biggest difference that I noticed with them is like, in a lot of action movies, it's just like a fight happens and the camera captures it, right? But in a movie like this, and there's a few others that's where it's like this too, the fight and the camera are like designed together.
Yeah.
It kind of moves with the actors. It like becomes part of the action flow in a way. And that's how, he gets those insane kind of like one take sequences.
Yeah, there's one of the greatest, I think, movie scenes of all time is in the second one. There's like a giant one take sequence that is one of the most intensive thing I've almost ever seen in film. So I'm so excited to talk about it. It's crazy.
Yeah. And and that's also a big reason why like hits feel so real in this movie, because Hargrave, he knows what a punch should look like from the camera and how bodies move when they're tired and hurt and whatever. So instead of just like a clean, pretty Hollywood fight, it ends up being this thing that's kind of messy and like scrambling for weapons and
blood and
yeah,
like,
I mean,
bullets and
yeah, and so anyways, there's and like, I mean, with like the long take stuff, right? Most action movies, they cut every 1 or 2 seconds, and a lot of times it kind of like, well, since this movie was written by Joe Russo, I'll cite Captain America: Civil War, directed by Joe Russo.
Yeah.
There was the final fight between spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, the final fight between Captain America and Bucky versus Iron Man. I've watched some behind the scenes videos of filming that fight. There are a ton of choreography mistakes and in that fight, particularly from Robert Downey Jr. Sorry, but
yeah, he's wearing a plate on his damn chest. Basically.
Yeah. But yeah, and so the camera cuts so much that it you can kind of hide a lot of that.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, you hold shots for way longer, so that means choreography, like, it has to be perfect, and they have to execute it like a live performance.
Like, funny enough, like Brandon, we were talking about WWE, you and I, yesterday and this morning. It's very much like what you expect from a WWE fight. It's very similar.
Or what you used to expect from it, because now they don't hammer home. Like, there's no such thing as like a long take. There's no such thing as that in WWE anymore. Now it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna cut the commercial every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, let's roll around on the damn mat for 3 minutes, and we're gonna go to commercial, and then do something else for 3 minutes, then go to commercial, and then run another 3 minutes, go to commercial, and then we're gonna have a pin. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's whatever.
It's not, yeah. That's like that. That's why I appreciate the long takes. That's why John Wick has a few of those. So that's why I appreciate, like, when something's done right. That's also why I love Keanu Reeves as an actor, because he does a lot of his own stunts. So
Yeah, and you're seeing all this stuff
just like Chris Hemsworth did in this movie, did almost all his stunts. So
yeah, Hemsworth did pretty much everything in this
Yeah.
movie.
And you're a lot more aware of like the geography as far as where everyone is and what they're doing, because normally directors just like, okay, all these people are gonna come out of here and do this and that'll be that, okay, and action. You're like, but like a stunt performer is, they're always thinking about, okay, spatial awareness, like where am I supposed to be, what's the continuity of my movement, right? And so like in this movie, your brain can track, okay, like this is where Rake is, these are where his threats are coming from, see, this is where he needs to go next, because you just see it in a different way.
But also
breaking down like sorry, go ahead.
No, Scoop, please go, because this is gonna add to my point. Go.
I was just gonna say, kind of like breaking down like the science of it almost at all, and like all of the analytics of it, if you will.
Yeah, and then that's what's kind of fun about this is like you see the camera move and it transitions to like a villain, and the villain's walking and shooting or looking around, and then all of a sudden, pop, Rake kills him. I'm like, where the hell did you come from? And I just think that's fun. That's like, because I know where he came from. I can track where he actually came from, because if you think about it logically, he came through the other side door over. I get it, but also you're just like, whoa.
There's also, I would think there's also too much happening in a short period of time for your brain to process it in a logical progression.
Exactly. So that's why I rewind it and go, okay, where did he go? And yeah, 100%. Scoop, what are your thoughts as someone still learning all these different concepts with movies? Because this is very much just a film where the camera is just so in tune with everything. So what was your thought process on it?
I mean, having me go last, it's going to sound like Coco the gorilla coming in here compared to the three people that. But I mean, I kind of said a lot of it with what I just said there, with just I mean, I think it was you, Rob, who said you kind of had to, and I had to do this multiple times. I mentioned it earlier in one of our 93 group chats, was just the fact that you kind of had to, there was a lot of instances where it was like, wait, what was that? And I had to rewind a couple, and I have to do that on a regular basis with films. This
one I highly recommend that you do that, because it's just so fascinating.
I had no choice but to do it. Like it was 111 minutes of a film, and I think for me it probably turned more into almost 4 hours.
Which I understand, because that's what I was the first time I saw both of the films. I was like, whoa.
And it's also, and because you know me, I do like a bit of a scouting report, for lack of a better word, on the films before we go in and watch them. So I had seen not only that there were two films that are about to be a third that's going to be born later this year, but also that it was born out of a graphic novel from 2014 called Cuidad. Probably mispronouncing that one. So
I had the correct pronunciation, I believe. So good job.
Oh wait, it's Spanish, so it'd be Ciudad.
Good.
Ciudad. Okay. Wow. As long as it's in as long as it's not in my native language, I can pronounce it. Interesting. But
pronounce it pretty solidly. Continue.
But yeah. So I haven't obviously gotten to read that yet. But and then I went on to Netflix, and for whatever reason, I was finding Extraction 2, but not Extraction 1. For whatever reason, it kept wanting me to watch Extraction 2 first.
Because Extraction 2 is a better movie. It's a way better movie.
But it was just funny to me that every time I kept like, oh, okay, here it is. No, that's Extraction 2 again. What the? That was.
Yeah, you gotta really spell it out, and it will pop up. It's also much older.
Yeah, but I mean that makes sense. But also, so getting it was clear from the very early opening couple scenes, meeting with, we could tell was some sort of a guardian, didn't quite really know exactly who he was at first. And then going into I don't know if it was like a pool hall or whatever you would call that place where, he first like had eyes on the gal, and he was with his friends and whatnot. And then he obviously takes the what I assume was a blunt.
An alleyway. That's an alleyway. Yep.
Anyway, sorry. It looked like a pool place, but in any event, so it was clear pretty early on that this was a very show you don't tell you type of movie, which I like. But when you add that on top of what we just described, it obviously added more times where it was like, okay, wait, what? And you had to kind of break it down a little bit more. So this. Hello, whoever's dog.
It's Brandon's dog. There we go. It's time for dinner. It's time for
exactly. Dinner. Yeah. Yeah. That one in there also, but I just but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to, like, as things were starting to come together, like the going back to the actual plot itself, with Saju and going to the prison with Obi Senior and so on and so forth, and having it be connected to like drug lords and the law and all of that. Obviously, very much stuff that I enjoy watching films about. Action is definitely the one genre in which I probably don't watch as much of as I probably would like to, because I do enjoy those films. I just don't think I've seen as many of them. But again, I liked the movie. I liked the fact that it was, like I said, there was a lot of room for you to kind of make certain connections in your mind rather than it being like even, and it sounds stupid, but even back down to like what I said, that first scene with like the cannabis cigarette or whatever, like it didn't say like, oh, I'm giving you this specific thing. I was like, oh, here, try this. It'll help you relax. Like just little nuanced things like that, where it's like they weren't telling you, you kind of were surmising it in your own mind. And I know that's a stupid example, but it's like that's kind of a micro.
I think it's accurate. But
it's kind of a microcosm for what the rest of the film turned into.
Exactly.
Right down to the very end about when they finally, or when everything ended up with a safe. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, in the in the restroom, and then Tyler like kind of looking over him at the very end. But again, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm curious because now that you've told me that the second one is much bigger and much more,
it's way better. It's insane.
So I'm curious to see how, if I watch that, if that, not only will I like that better, but if it'll change the way I felt about watching this one.
And that's why I'm not having you guys review it. I'm gonna have you guys review both movies as a whole.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're not gonna review this one because I think your opinion of the first one changes a lot when you watch the second one.
Yeah.
It's one of
okay.
those movies.
Then I'll cut myself off there because I'm kind of just rambling at this point. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed that this was kind of the first off-season pick, if you will, because it also felt like we hadn't even, forget about reviewing movies. It felt like we hadn't been on FAH for a month, let alone reviewed movies. Hello. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seing that, and I'll also try and read Ciudad at some point as well, because but I'll probably wait until after that, since we're all going to be on the same page.
Yeah. So I don't want you guys to review it because we're gonna do the second one next week. But the reason why I want to do this is because I always think that this rush when we get to the draft next month kind of exemplifies the rush of this film and this series. So I think that's a huge reason why I wanted to do this one. So that's all we have. Anything else before we go? Shane, Brandon, Scoop, anything else?
I would love to say anything, but I've got the mayhem in the background here, so
it's time for dinner. I'm getting hungry too, so I get it.
I know.
Yeah, and I know you boys got first pitch in about 15 minutes at 6:20 here, so.
Yeah, we're ready. First Sunday Night Baseball on the networks of NBC, so. NBCSN and Peacock.
I'm excited for it. Like, I'm excited for, this is one of the few games that I can remember being excited for, not just because of the fact that it's the first game itself and like who's playing, but also just because like I want to see how everything's set up and like how it's look who finally came in.
Hi, Nikki.
What's up, Nikki? Yeah. Nikki got a pet lobster today, so
what?
Yeah.
It's a stuffed weighted lobster.
Okay.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, sadly, because we're in the middle of basketball season, this is a NBCSN and Peacock exclusive until April to like mid-April. So because of basketball, but once we who did you meet yesterday, Nikki? Do you want to tell us who you met?
she told us this, and I don't remember who it is. Brandon, do you remember? She told us, and I don't remember.
I'll let her say it if she.
Okay.
Lionel Richie.
No, well,
That would-
it's football. It's football related.
I don't know why.
Is it Aaron
So,
Rodgers
Oh,
again?
no. I remember it now. My
There it
bad.
is.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. There it
Go
is.
Miles Austin,
Former
the speedster
Eagles
himself.
Former Eagles receiver Miles Austin.
That's awesome.
And
But yeah,
Yeah.
everywhere
I choose
NFC
to remember him
East
as an
for that
Eagle.
guy.
Okay.
every NFC East. Okay.
And Cleveland for what it's worth.
And Cleveland, yeah, a long career for him, with a lot of stops. But all right, let's go get some dinner. Thank you all for joining us. For Brandon, for Scoop, for Shane, for myself, Robert. Go get yourself some coffee. Go get yourself some Lion coffee, and and enjoy some baseball. We got basketball going on as well. Whatever other sports. I don't know when we're going to record next week, because next week is the Final Four. And so I don't want to cut into any of the Final Four games. So I'm not sure yet.
Well, when it's Final Four, that also is a lot less time we have to work around, though.
No, it is, but I'm also considering the women's side as well and making sure that we don't cut into that, because I know people want to watch that. So we'll figure it out. We'll find time. Anyway, for Shane, for Brandon, for Scoop, for myself, Robert, thank you all for joining us. Shane, thank you for taking the time.
Yes,
to
thank
create
you.
a curriculum for us.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, no,
Hope you guys liked it.
that was amazing. I know. So we're gonna give you the next 2 weeks for that, and then we're gonna take a bit of a break, and then
you'll be experts by April.
Yeah, and then by
May.
the week after the draft, or I think 2 weeks after the draft, because I want to take a week off after the NFL draft, we're gonna finish up with your fourth one. So the next month is all you, Shane, and we're very excited to give you that space and that time. But again, thanks again. And thank you to everyone in the comment section. Thank you for the good questions and
Yes.
things of that nature. And of course, just always being engaging. Have a great rest of your Sunday and a great rest of your week. It is Easter week, so happy Easter for those of you who celebrate.
Have a blessed Holy Week, everybody.
100%. Mine is the week after, but I still care about both Easters. So I'm excited for both of that. So yeah, we'll see you. Have a blessed Holy Week, everybody, and we'll see you next weekend. Peace.
Good night, y'all.
Peace.